Is this the most human that we've seen Murderbot so far? Check out after this. Hello and welcome back to the couch. We saved you a seat. My name is Luke and today we're looking at Fugitive Telemetry. Yes, we've been doing a chapter by chapter reaction review. This is a complete review of this novella, this book. This is the 6th book in the Murderbot Diaries series. We've been doing, like I said, chapter by chapter reactions reviews. You can see all the other ones on the channel that I've done so far, 1 through 4. We're gonna do 5 next and then 7. You can follow along by purchasing the book via the Amazon link in this video's description. It supports the channel, and if you want to continue to support the channel, you can join the membership. It helps me out greatly, and we can continue to put out great content. We like storytelling here. We're doing this right now. We're going to be doing some more stuff. We've got some other stuff going on too. We can go about that a little bit later, but let's talk about this book. This was a great detective story. Not the best novella, but a great, great detective story. We have a lot to go over in this book and review and to talk about, but I really just kind of want to break down what's happened and how Murderbot is doing things. Back to the question. Is this the most human Murderbot has been so far in these books? Absolutely. Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, it's received the beginning. It's overwhelming to see that Murderbot now has human restrictions as well. Can't just do whatever it wants to. It's got to play by the same rules as all of its contemporaries, which are the special investigator Aileen, which are Mensah, which are Guruthrin, which are all these other people, which makes the story kind of fun. It's kind of fun, but let's go back to the great detective story, right? Murderbot is... The story is written so well because you think everyone else did it in this whodunit. Except, what's kind of obvious. I said it in an earlier chapter. It's probably a bot. There's probably a bot, right? Overcome by something or hacked or whatever. Probably was. Turned out to be the case. Now, I'm not so smart as to be like, oh, I figured it out. That's not the case. That's not the case. But it's a good story. It's a good story. It's a little slow at the beginning. The first 100 pages or so, take it or leave it. The last 60 or so pages, pretty good, pretty solid. We get Murderbot coming up after the hostel, coming out, getting some extra detail, figuring out that, oh, there's a gap in the system here. Why is there a gap in the system? Why is it that the refugees come out of here and then just disappear? Murderbot then begins to kind of put together the pieces. How did this... I kind of do like, to be frank with you, and with Inda it was a little bit tough, but I did like the first 2 chapters when you're kind of met with, okay, this is where we are in Murderbot's life. Murderbot is on preservation, Murderbot's doing these things, and Murderbot is now having an identity crisis. And also going to therapy. There's a moment where Murderbot goes to therapy and is talking about why it is who it is, what it is. And I think that's kind of awesome. I think it's kind of awesome. But yeah, this whodunit's really, really solid. It's very solid. The way that Murderbot gets to this ending is great. The stretch, right, between chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4 are a little bit much. It's a little bit like, oh, what if it's in this random data place? Not random, but what if it's in this random place right here? And oh, this scarf sort of matches the clothes of Lutrin. And we're trying to figure this out, and that out, and this out. And that's all well and good. I do like the way the world looks in my head, though. It reminds me of, if you've ever seen, I don't know, those bays in the Star Wars that ships kind of fly into, right? The bays on the Death Star. I imagine that's kind of the look here. That's kind of the feel, is that a lot of this takes place in that port area of the Death Star that you kind of see in episode 4 and 6. That's how I kind of see it, although it's got refugees and bots going every which aware and everything that happens. I like that you get to see in this book the free will that bots have and how they take advantage of it. You see it from the hostile bot, you see it from Balin, obviously, and then you see it at the very end when all of the bots, the cargo bots and everything, they see one of their own seemingly killed, right? And they think that the combat bot is the one that did it. So they do their best to protect the humans and themselves from this threat. Interesting. Really cool that preservation has this thing. It's pretty smart. Martha Wells in her bag on this one. Pretty good. But yeah, it's a great detective story. If you haven't read it, I'd highly recommend it. I've not spoiled a whole lot. There's a lot of cool detail. How Murderbot retrieves the refugees. Pretty cool detail. Some of the things that Murderbot lands on in terms of facts and opinions aren't necessarily true, right? This isn't the perfect Murderbot. This is the most human version. Murderbot makes mistakes. To tell you the truth, everyone makes mistakes. We also get introduced to a whole new world, right? Because these refugees aren't necessarily just refugees. They're indentured servants. They're essentially slaves, right? And they've gotten away because they have no augments and they're able to do that. And their former masters, or whatever you want to call this mining company, is tired of losing all of these resources. So they came up with a way to fix that. I like this. I like this book. It gives us new parts of the world. We're not just dealing with GrayCris. We're not just dealing with corrupt corporations. There's like a whole economic area, an ecosphere that we as readers haven't gotten to see yet. And now we get to see it. Now we get to see what refugees look like. Because we've talked about this from the beginning. In this story, in these stories, there is the one side that is the bad guys who are big corporate greed. And then you've got the other side, which are the good guys. Part of that is the preservation. That believe in freedom and you can just do whatever you want to as long as you don't hurt nobody, right? So there's kind of good and evil jostling here. Murderbot's not even in between them. Murderbot doesn't even care. Just don't mess with Murderbot. But you do get the sense that Murderbot is really, really beginning to like humans. Especially humans that show it respect. And that's part of the plot, the read between the lines plot of this detective series so far. A lot of what's driving him is to ensure that the respect that he's received from Mensah is earned by those that he has to call peers or confidants, people that he's working with. Yeah. He's trying to reinforce it, or it's trying to reinforce it, and it doesn't always work. But when it works great. And when you get to the end, it is kind of satisfying. So I would recommend this book for sure. If I were to give it a ranking, I would say this book is of the 5 I've read so far, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. This book is probably tied with 3rd. Or 4th, depending on how you do your math. So my favorite is the 4th book. And I'd say my second favorite is the 2nd book. The 2nd book is awesome. Tied with 3rd or 4th or whatever is 1 and 6. And then 3 is just, I don't know. I didn't much like 3. 3 was okay. There was cool moments. But yeah. I appreciate what Martha Wells did with this novella. I appreciate how it turned out. I appreciate that it's different than the other stories that are a little bit more contingent on the previous one. This one, not so much, right? It's an independent story. It's fascinating. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it to this series. However, I think that's all I've had. So, if you like this content, please like, subscribe, and share. Tell your friends. We love to hear your comments. And I just ordered books 5 and 7. So they should be here soon. And we'll get started on doing those. We've also been doing book chapter by chapter reaction for Project Hail Mary. Fantastic sci-fi. Really, really fun. Make sure to go out and buy it before the movie comes out in March so you can get kind of the fun details. I imagine there's going to be a trailer for the movie in December, more than likely. And then also my friend, the smut oracle herself, Emily, and I are doing chapter reactions, reviews, talking about the goofiness that is A Court of Thorns and Roses. Really, really fun stuff. We're just having a great time with it. And you get to hear our thoughts, which aren't always the most PC thoughts. But yeah. I think you'll really like her and you'll really like our energy. So, until next time, later, Taters.